Hey, everybody. Welcome back into Back to You. Don't forget, you can follow us on Instagram at Back to You Show and X at Back to You Show, the number 2 in there. Good to see you guys. It's been really fun, these episodes we've had. We've got a great couple coming up, including our dear friend, Charles Barkley, joining us here on this one. I am so excited for the listeners to hear this because my cheeks are still hurting from our conversation with him. I mean, it is unbelievable. Never-ending laughs with Charles Barkley.
You know, the great thing about a guy like Charles Barkley is that he's just so unique in that his energy for every show that he's on, everywhere he goes, he represents somebody or some league. I mean, how many times has he been, in the Stanley Cup final representing the NHL? He works for TNT, and there he is. He might be on ESPN. He might be on TNT. He might be on another show in Canada, and gives it everything he's got. So I think every time when you have a chance to be around, or for our listeners to watch and listen, you really appreciate these moments because he is truly one of a kind. And I know, Niner, you've been very fortunate to be a friend of his for a long period of time on a level that many of us haven't been on. So great to have him on the show.
Yeah, he's really become a very close, dear friend. We've known each other for probably 15, 18 years now. And like you said, when you have a chance to go to dinners with them, golf with them, go to sporting events, things like that, you get to see the actual human side of Charles and get to know him personally. He's such a sincere, just salt of the earth guy. And that's what makes him special.
Yeah. And I love what he says at the end of the conversation about all of us. So definitely stick around for the end. But without further ado, we've got to get right to it here with Sir Charles Barkley. There he is, the hardest working man in television, on every TV station, channel, podcast, you name it. Mr. Charles Barkley. Charles, how's it going, buddy?
First of all, working all the time is very overrated. I mean, damn. I mean, it really, working all the time just flat out sucks. I'm not going to lie. I'm just trying to get through Christmas, Kat. That's all I'm doing.
Stop being so damn good at it, and they'll make, let's stop asking you to be on all these new shows.
Well, I'm only doing that thing because of Gail. She's one of my favorite people. She's awesome. But, hey, listen, the most important thing is, the basketball is my bread and butter. The new show is fun. It's exciting. But, basketball, that's my, just like Panger, man. And Craig, the same way. Once you play a sport, it's just part of your fabric for the rest of your life. Like, I never get tired of watching basketball. I know Panger and Craig never gets tired of watching hockey. I mean, he probably seen Craig's statue up.
Here we go.
Has Panger seen your statue?
That's why I wore the Fredonia hockey sweatshirt just for you today.
Hey, Panger, he was an All-American.
Two-time. Get it straight.
Two-time All-American. Is that why, Chuck, you said on Canadian national TV that he was your top 3 favorite hockey players of all time?
Well, because when you
knew who the hell he was?
Hey, I'm 100% correct because, when I'm playing golf with him, if you close your eyes, you'll think you're playing with Gretzky because he's keep bragging about all his accomplishments. Am I playing with Wayne? Am I playing with Mario Lemieux? If you close your eyes, you're like, yeah, I got a statue. I was a 2-time All-American. I'm like, damn, Craig, that's impressive.
Hey, I didn't have to donate $5 million to my school to get my statue.
Hey, you know what? Hey, you know what? I would kill if it was only $5 million. Trust me, brother. I would kill. Hey, let me tell you something. The 3 worst things in my life I've ever heard is NIL. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna go broke with NIL. You would think all this money I'm giving Auburn, we wouldn't let somebody score a touchdown on 4th and 31.
That's awesome. How closely were you watching those championship games this weekend for college football?
Kat, I was really disappointed watching the games because I don't think it's fair what happened to Florida State.
I agree.
The reason I don't think it's fair, these doofuses get on television and say, well, we can't look at Florida State the same way. They lost their starting quarterback. I'm like, why would I look at it totally the opposite way? They've won 3 games with backup quarterbacking. That, to me, is more impressive than winning with your starting quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, they're down to the third string quarterback. And Panger and Craig know this firsthand. Man, when you lose starters, it's a shock to your system, to your team. But to be able to go out there and continue winning and win a championship with second string and third string players, those kids should have been rewarded instead of saying, well, y'all lost y'all best player. I'm like, yeah, that's true. That's fair. But the backups and the defense really stepped up, and they won 3 games with backups. Mm-hmm. And one was a tough game at Florida on the road, which, Florida's a tough place to always play down at the Swamp. But also they won the championship. And I was really disappointed. Because, when you win on the field, that's all should matter. It shouldn't matter about, the stat I hate the most in all the sports is strength of schedule. And my friends say, why do you hate that stat so much? I said, why is it my fault your team sucks? I mean, why is it my fault? Seriously.
Yeah.
I do. Everybody says, well, they played the teams, especially when you're conference team. If your conference isn't good, and they played LSU, which is an SEC school. But everybody said, well, the ACC was down. That's not Florida State's fault. They played, those schedules are made out years and years in advance.
Yep. Yeah, and I just want to know, call me old school, but I said this on a radio show this morning. I'm like, what are we teaching young student athletes? They are not professionals. Take NIL out of it. They are not paid professional athletes. What are we teaching them about the values of life? That, hey, you're here we go, next man up. You got to perform. And they did that. They proved everything they possibly could, Florida State. But, there's a lesson to be learned with adversity in life. There's a lesson to be learned through all of this. And we just eliminate that and tell them they're not allowed to play in the college football championship games. It blows my mind where we're headed, where we're going. And I couldn't
agree more.
Yeah, it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. These are student athletes learning to face adversity. Well, they lost their best player, who I thought came out with the best statement of all, and just said, I wish I put my leg earlier because you would have seen how great this team is. I mean, imagine what this kid. That
is a great statement.
Well, Kat, you're preaching to the choir, because I have said this publicly, not just on with you guys now. What kind of society are we becoming? We screwed up college athletics. Probably the greatest thing going today, we screwed it up. We got UCLA and USC going to be in the Big Ten. I'm pretty sure the Big Ten is really like the Midwest, Ohio State, Michigan. I don't know how those kids from California are going to adjust to that. It's not going to be good. Oh, we got Texas and Oklahoma coming to the SEC next year. And, now we're paying college kids $1 million to transfer from one school to another. We're teaching kids like, hey, don't try to get better as a player. If things don't go your way after 1 year, transfer. And I'm like, what kind of society? I give an example. My daughter, the greatest thing ever happened to me. She went to University of Arizona her first year. And I said, you sure you want to go there? She said, yeah, Dad, all my friends are going. I said, well, that's a damn good reason not to go. All your friends are going. She called me after a month and says, Dad, I hate it here. Can I transfer? I said, nope, you can't. I says, I don't want to teach you that quitting is okay. Mm-hmm. Now, I says, you can transfer after 1 year, but you're not going to transfer right now. I don't ever want you to think quitting is all right. And just the way these kids are just like, hey, I've been here 1 year. I'm not getting to play. I'm gone to the next school. We got some kids who want to transfer like 2 or 3 times. And I said, and I'm like, as a parent, don't you want your kid to compete? Now, if he roughs it, if he's not going to play for a couple of years, that's different. But missing 1 year and like, I know I'm gone. I just wonder, to piggyback on your point, Kat, what are we teaching our kids in society today?
No, we're not teaching them the right ways, for sure, Chuck. It still goes back to the same thing about, when we were kids and the teacher gave us heck for something, or we got in trouble for something, our parents didn't blame the teacher, they blamed us. And they said, pick it up a notch. If we were arguing with a police officer, they didn't blame the police officer, they blamed us. And now it's just backwards. And as another follow up to what you're saying, let's just say that your daughter's going to be, let's say she's a great athlete and she turns pro. And she learned that in college that, if it doesn't go well, I'm just going to go here, I'm going to go there, I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
Man, do you ever run out of pro teams in a heartbeat? Your reputation just grabs you by the ass in no time flat, and you are out. Because everybody knows what kind of character you are. You're a quitter, and you throw everybody else under the bus to try to advance yourself. And it just doesn't work in pro sports.
It doesn't work at all. But the basis, I always tell people, the thing I love about sports, man, it don't care how rich you are, don't care how tall you are, how small you are, you got to get out there and get it done. When I first, everybody said, man, this dude too short to play major college basketball. And my mom says, what do you want to do? I said, well, I want to go to school, but I don't know if I can compete because everybody's telling me I'm too small to play. I should go to a smaller school. She says, well, that's out the window. You're going to a 4-year school. So that's the worst case scenario. You're going to get a free education. And I said, okay. And then obviously when I got there, I was like, oh, I'm just as good as everybody else. I just got to work harder. But man, I just hate where we're going with college athletics because the way it's going now, especially with all the money and everything, I think in the next 3 years, we're going to have about 10 to 15 schools. And I don't blame the kids because listen, if they had to offer me millions of dollars, I'd have been going to certain schools too.
Right.
I mean, I said, like I say, I don't blame the kids. I said, wait, you're going to give me how much money to leave my school after 1 year and go here? And it's going to become a bidding war. And I'm just concerned where the sport's going.
I'm just thinking to Chuck's last comment that he was too small to play basketball.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how big were you coming out of high school that you were too small?
I'm still the same, 6'5", but they didn't think I could. Yeah, I'm the same. They said because I've always been a center. They're like, he can't play center in the SEC or at a big school, and I'm like, well, my mom made me come here because I need to get an education.
You better play me.
Yeah, that's right. But then once I realized, nah, man, the beauty of sports, we all go out there, we lace them up the same way, and the best players play. It took me a while to get it together. It took me about a month to get the game to start slowing down. Same thing in the NBA. I didn't get to play a lot right away at the NBA because, it's always a shock to your system when you play against better players. But after a while, everything starts slowing down. And then, hey, let's just go play.
I'll stay with this before I get to KT and Nina for a second, Chuck, because the only time, being 5'4.5" and 135 pounds doesn't cut it in today's NHL, and there'll never be another goaltender my size. I would guarantee you that. But the only time I ever felt small, they started taking so many pictures once you get to the NHL. And I started looking at these pictures that people were sending me because, you get on the bus, they want you to sign these pictures.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at these pictures and I'm like, Jesus, there's a lot of net there. Like, I never felt small as a goalie, or I always try to prove people wrong all the time. I always had an edge, I'm just trying to prove everybody I can make it. But man, did I see some pictures. I was beside Tim Kerr of the Philadelphia Flyers one time.
Oh, yeah.
And remember Tim Kerr? He's he's about 6'5" with great hands. And I'm like, I'm literally between his legs trying to find the puck, and I'm like, oh boy. That was a shock to my system.
But that's the beauty of your story, though. That's the beauty of your story. He's too little. Let's put him out there and let's see if he's too little. And you are successful. That's the thing I was talking about earlier. I love about sports. They're because there's this quarterback he's too small. They have to be a certain type. I'm like, well, Drew Brees is short. Russell Wilson is short. They're two of the best quarterbacks ever. Now the jury's still out in Arizona on Kyler Murray. Same thing with Baker Mayfield. They're like, well, these guys are too short. I'm like, dude, let them play. Drew Brees going to the Hall of Fame. Russell Wilson probably going to the Hall of Fame. But we have these. This is the kind of quarterback I'm looking for. I'm like, well, yeah, we all looking for that. But the beauty of sports is you lace them up, whether it's skates, whether it's sneakers or anything, and you just hey, if I'm not good enough, they'll tell me to go home.
Mm-hmm.
point.
Yep. Amen. Amen. Hey, I got to ask how your golf game's going right now, because I heard you shot.
Oh man! Oh,
You
excuse
shot a
me.
79 recently.
I'm playing great right now, Kat.
All right.
You know, so you know, this weekend was one of the more fun weekends of my life. We had the member at Whisper Rock. Me and Dan Marley. We won it last year, and we played good this year. It's a 2-day event. There's 285 players, I think, and I think we came in like 5th place this year, but we could not make a putt. We could not make a putt, but man, it's an honor to be a member at Whisper Rock. We got a gazillion tour pros there. Wow. But it's a really good group of people. I actually like Mr. Trias has a really, really strict rule. If you're not a nice guy, like if he catch you being rude or nasty to anybody, they say, yo, there's gonna be a check in your locker after the round and your ass is gone. And I love that. He says, hey, just be a nice guy. We're all out here to play golf. We're all out here to have fun. And I said, and they would tell him, it's like, yeah, if he finds somebody who's not being nice or being rude to other players or the whole staff, that's going to be a check in your locker when you're like, hey, thank you for being here and don't come back. So I made it through. I made it through the weekend without getting a check in the locker, so I'm good.
Success.
Chuck, how about those caddies at Whisper Rock? I just love their preparation. You guys couldn't make any putts. Was it your eyes? Was it your alignment? Or was it the greens rolling unbelievably fast? What were they, 13s on the stimp?
They were at least 13 on the lower course. They were at least. So, and you couldn't be aggressive. You had to, even when you're putting for birdie, you couldn't be aggressive because once they started rolling out, you got about 6-8 feet coming back. Oof. And then they were a little slower on the upper, but from real fast to kind of slow, we just couldn't get it down. But you know what? The weather was perfect. It was about 70 degrees Friday and Saturday. And, you play eightsomes. So you play with a bunch of really good dudes. And everybody's trying, but everybody's having fun. And there's probably some alcohol in the mix. And for me, there was definitely some cigars in the mix. Nice. And these guys, they thought I was rude. And I always have a bag full of cigars. And they're like, it took them 6 or 7 holes. Like, can we have a cigar? I'm like, hell yeah, you can have a cigar. They're like, we thought those were yours. I said, dude, I'm not a jackass. I don't bring a bunch of cigars to the golf course just to myself. No, this is for everybody in the group. So we end up smoking great cigars all day. Nice. And hitting a little ball. It was a great 2 days.
You are very generous. I played at that, what was that called? Piedmont Driving Club outside of Atlanta during the TNT meetings.
That was awesome, wasn't it? We did, wasn't we?
I launched straight into that bag of cigars. That was right off the hop. I didn't wait for 5 holes.
Hey, listen, they're for the entire group you're with. I always bring a bunch. And I say, hey, man, just smoke up. They're all going to be good cigars. I don't smoke cheap cigars. And you know what, man, but golf to me, people say, why you love golf and fishing so much? I said, it's the only 2 things you can do and get peace and quiet. It's not a bunch of people around most of the time. You're playing with guys you like, or you're fishing with people you like, and you're just having fun. And that's why I love playing golf and fishing. It's just like being with your friends, no drama. I just love it.
Who gets the most out of each other? You or Niner on a let's say it's a $200 closeout. Who gets the cabbage right there, Chuck?
Well, so when he was a nice guy, many, many years ago, he gave me some shots.
5 aside.
Yes, he did. But now we're pretty close to being even, so I don't get shots anymore. So, but we need, so we have a good battle. I've gotten better. He got that little slappy ass hockey cut.
It's straight now. It's straight now.
He used that little slappy cut off the tee box. It drives me crazy. This dude, hey, Panger, he ain't Mr. Fairway since the Clinton administration. I mean, He hits that little slappy hockey cut out there. It goes about 275, 280, a nice little butter cut, as I call it. It drives me crazy. This dude never misses a fairway. The good thing about it, though, he putts like Stevie Wonder. I just got to get him to the greens. I just got to get. I don't care how close. I don't care how close the damn putt is. He gonna putt it because I know he like no, that's not good because he gonna three jacket. He gonna three jacket. I know he is.
Tell him about the bet
Who's
we
a better
made.
putter?
Tell him about the bet we made
KT
Thanksgiving.
or Niner? Who's a better putter?
Oh, KT for sure.
My putting was good this year. Charles, I went from a 22 to a 14. So I'm going to bring it next year in Tahoe, just to let you know.
You know,
I worked hard this summer. I haven't played since August, but I've worked hard. So,
hey, you know what? I tell people, you know, you're like one of the guys. I mean, better looking, but like one of the guys.
I know that.
And I don't mean this. And listen, I know women are gonna get all bent out of shape, but I don't care. Like, you are so cool to hang out with. And a lot of times, guys do not want to see women on the golf course because they always got some type of BS or drama going on. I said, yo, man, that lady is so cool, and you got the greatest mom. Oh. Your mom sends me. First of all, I haven't even broke the news to her that when I was in college, I had somebody doing my homework for me, so I don't read a lot. But I love the fact that your mom sends me books to read all the time.
Have you read any of them?
Hey, I pass it on to my friends who read a lot.
And you sound like you're well read. See?
I do. I says, hey, Mom, I wish I had the heart to tell Mom, Chuck don't read a lot. But my friends tell me she sends great books. And so I got friends who love to read. Your mom, man, she reads a lot. She's unbelievable.
A book a day, I know, it's unreal. I admire that about her, but she loves to read. And she's my inspiration on the course. She's an amazing golfer. Comes with me to Tahoe all the time, and just enjoys herself and caddies for me. And we get into our own house.
She became my hero when she caddied for you.
The morning after we went out at night, that morning.
I said, is that cat mom caddying for her? Like, wow. I was like, that is very impressive. That lets you know she's a great mom. I'm like, because Tahoe is not an easy walk.
Right. Yeah. Elevation.
It's the elevation and up and down those hills.
Yep.
Yeah. But for her to do that when she really come out for vacation with your sister, I was like, Mom, we all here to play golf, drink, karaoke. We're not here to have work. And she's out here working. She's unbelievable.
She is. Thank you. She'll be happy to hear that. Yeah, it's a fun event. I always say with that event in Tahoe, it's just so great that the connections you make. And I know you've played in it since the start, but it's like a big family out there. And then throughout the course of the year, you're running into these people and I see them on the football field when I'm covering games. And I love that event, how it's brought so many good people together. And you talk about this. Jonathan Thomas is the same thing. Good people, and John Miller bringing him to that event. Yeah,
it's the first thing I put on my schedule every year. It's the most fun week of my entire summer. Jonathan Thomas and John Miller, man, they do a fabulous job. And you meet all these guys who you normally wouldn't meet. Football players, hockey players, baseball players, actors and actresses, and you're like, wow. And everybody's cool. Yeah. Now we've had a couple jackasses there, and they're gone. Yeah. John Miller is like, I got a complaint about this guy or this guy, and we're like, get rid of him. You're the boss. He's like, oh, that's a good point. Because most of the people, I shouldn't say all of the people, are like awesome. And it's a fun week. Everybody's having fun. The karaoke we do every night is amazing. You get the guy, we all are hacks when it comes to doing karaoke. But when you get the guys from Rascal Flatts and they start singing, and the crowd is always tremendous.
Yeah.
In the city of Lake Tahoe, man, they roll out the red carpet and they're nice and friendly. So, man, that's the highlight of my summer.
Me too. Yeah.
Me too. I book Air Charles. I bring my Southwest beer coupons. I hand it to him when I get on the plane. And I just say, hey, thanks a lot for the ride.
It's like most of my friends ask me, can they fly up with me? Niner just shows up. Mm-hmm. They're like, Mr. Barkley, you got an extra passenger. Who is it? I was like, no, I told you everybody on the list. And they're like, oh, Craig's here? His name Craig Conley. Put him down.
He's in the laboratory in the back.
America's guest just shows up.
That's what I do best.
That's right. I was like, yo, man, you could ask me. You don't have to just show up. But no, now you know you're my guy, man. Hey, listen, you are grandfathered in. You and Brennan are grandfathered in. Y'all y'all can fly in, because let me tell you something, Panger. If you don't have a private jet and fly into Lake Tahoe, it's a pain in the ass.
Tell me about it.
Because you have to fly to Reno and drive a couple of hours, and that's no fun. You fly right into Tahoe, you at the hotel in 10 minutes. It's like night and day.
Well, that's a good news, Chuck, because when I was in junior hockey in Canada and in the minors, from Saginaw to Halifax to Indianapolis to the NHL, I actually didn't get a seat. They just put me up on the top, and I had a pillow up there. And so I just went where the luggage was, and then it was no cost to anybody. And the weight thing distribution, you don't even have to worry about the fuselage, because it's all balanced out. We're going to be fine, Chuck. I'll be right there.
Let me tell you something.
And my clubs are small. My clubs are little.
Hey, let me tell you something. I'm so old that I actually flew commercial like my first 2 or 3 years in the NBA. That's how old I am.
Here. Same here with the smoking area.
Oh my God! Well, the danger wasn't the smoke. It was some little old lady. When you get some little old lady, I would travel to a city and my shoulder would be killing me. And Al Domenico was our trainer. He'd be like, I said, yo, man, I need you to do something to my shoulder. He said, what's wrong with your shoulder? I said, man, I had this little old lady leaning on me the whole damn flight, and I didn't have the heart to wake her up. He's like, what? I said, yeah, because because I was in coach, because only the veteran guys got to go in first class. So I had this little old lady laying on my shoulder a couple of times, and I didn't have the heart. First of all, I was tired as hell from the night before. But I had this little old lady 3 times, if I remember correctly, just laying on my shoulder the whole flight. My big old fat arm. I know it was comfortable, but by the time I got to the city we were going to, I said, yo, man, I need something. Give me something to get my arm back to working. We can joke about it now, but thank God for the Detroit Pistons. When they were the first team to get their own plane, and I think that was my 5th year in the league, and then after that, everybody got their own plane. But man, my first couple years in the NBA, the old ladies were killing Chuck in the back.
Times have changed.
Detroit, that's the Michigan boy. Probably Niner bought all those planes for all the owners in Michigan, huh, Niner?
No, he ate a lot. He ate a lot of that. He owned the pizza, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, he had pizza, and he had Little Caesars. Hey,
the little chubby man probably had a lot of Little Caesars pizzas to make that man all that money.
Hey, I was just fortunate enough to be at your house for Thanksgiving, and I only had one portion. I saw you go to the kitchen a few times.
Because I paid for it. You can when you pay for stuff, you can eat as much as you want to. Shout out to Baby Cage for the 2 deep fried turkeys. There's a restaurant in Phoenix, a Cajun place called Baby Cage. I started ordering deep fried turkeys from there 20 years ago. And I get 2 big ones. I always have about 10, 15, 20 people over. And man, that deep fried turkey.
Best turkey I ever had.
And I can't eat it any other way. I almost punch you in your face and you almost grab one of my legs. You can have any part of the turkey food except my legs, okay? That's the only rule for guests at the house.
I like. And the only reason I didn't go back for seconds because we have a little bet going on about our weight, and we got to get ready to weigh in next July. So,
what you know what you look good. Hey Panger, I got 4 fat friends, myself included. So we're all bragging because I've lost about 65 pounds, and we're all bragging, and we're in a cigar bar in Lake Tahoe. And my bodyguard, James, but two of my best friends, Bart and Matt and Craig, we're all lying about what we weigh right now. My friend Brennan goes and gets a scale. And everybody in the cigar bar is having a great time smoking. We got 5 fools in the corner on a scale. And so now we're talking about what we want to weigh by what next year. It was one of the fun nights of my life. We're like, what do you weigh right now? And what are you going to be next year? Everybody in the bar, in the cigar bar, is dying laughing. We got 5 fools on a scale. Everybody taking shoes, socks. Yeah. Only thing on is pants and a small shirt. But everybody's trying to get as light as possible. It was one of the funniest nights of my life. Everybody in the bar is dying laughing. But you got a year, brother. Was less than a year now. You got about 5 or 6 months.
Got about 6 months to go. I'm there. I'm at my weight. So the bet is every pound that you're over is $100 that goes into the kitty to use for that weekend.
Whoa.
We go and have wings. We have wings and beers. Yeah, and we put that in the kitty and we have a good time.
I love the fact that fat guys who are trying to lose weight are going out for wings and beers. That just seems like
We're gonna do that after the weigh-in. After the weigh-in.
That's
what are you going to do? Go have a salad or something? That doesn't make any sense. You're not going to have a salad and a glass of Pinot Noir maybe for you there, Chuck. No, exactly. You're going to have a couple of cold beers and some hot wings. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, listen, as I tell every fat person, one meal don't make or break you, brother.
Exactly.
One meal does not make or break you.
But Charles, you mentioned all that. I mean, the weight loss, everybody sees it. You look great. You seem
awesome.
Energized and everything. How are you feeling with having lost all that weight? How has it changed your life?
So I gained 105 pounds when I got my hips. I played at 250. I peaked out about 355. And I was really a fat ass. Because, you can't do anything when you get those hips, but the hips are the best thing ever happened to me. Now, like I say, I'm back to being mobile and playing golf every day. But a doctor, a friend of mine, recommended me. He says, yo, man, I want you to try this. I said, how'd you lose all that weight? He said, Manjaro. He said, I'm going to hook you up with my doctor. Shout out to Dr. Pearson. She's awesome. And I started Manjaro, and right now, I'm about 285. I want to get to 270. The problem is, Kat, I haven't been able to get Manjaro in like 3 months because there's such a shortage. Like every fat person in the world is on Manjaro, Ozempic, and Wegovy. So I'm ready. I'm gonna take the rest of this year off, because I've been working out pretty good. So I've been stuck at between 280, 285 for like 3 months now. But I want to I want to get to 270, which is going to be my goal weight. But man, but you don't even realize, and listen, I hope people don't get mad when I say this. Fat people don't know how shitty they feel until they start feeling better. Yeah. Like when I lost like the first 20, I'm like, uh-oh, man. Then I lost 30. I'm like, uh-oh. Then I lost 40. Then I lost 50. Then I lost 60. Then I lost 65. But it's like, to answer your question, it's like night and day. You don't even realize how crappy you feel until you start losing weight. And like I said, I gained 105. I'm going to get to 270. But, man, it's been a game changer for me. It's been a game changer, plain and simple.
Well, there's this thing called treadmill.
To have. Yeah, that's true, too.
What you say?
There's this thing called a treadmill. Since you can't get your shots, you can feel free to get on that.
Well, it's great. I hang my clothes on the treadmill so they don't get wrinkled. That's right. The treadmill. That's what the treadmill is for, Craig. So you make sure your pants and shirts don't get wrinkled.
That's Perfect. What my Peloton's for sure. But you know what you might need, Chuck, is a foundation to support overweight people that are losing and they can't afford to buy clothes. Like you're fortunate. You're. I think if I did my math correct, I mean, you're in the 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds. That's a lot of clothes that you would have that you wouldn't maybe be able to afford. That'd be a good incentive right there.
Well, I've been giving my clothes away because when I was yo-yo dieting, Panger, I had like 2 wardrobes, one regular wardrobe and one complete dark wardrobe. So when I would go up and down, I had 2 wardrobes. See, I'm wearing bright colors today. Like I had a complete black wardrobe that I kept every time I would gain the weight back. But now I realize as I've gotten older, my doctor, she said to me, Chuck, ain't no fat old people. And I was like, what? She's like, you got to get that weight off you. Why? Like, cause I just turned I'm getting ready to turn 61 in February. She says, there's no fat old people. You got to get that weight off of you. Yeah. But that goes back to what I said earlier. You don't even realize how bad you feel until you start losing weight. So I made them, even though I haven't had my Manjaro in like 3 months, I've been working out. My weight has pretty much stayed the same. And I don't want to be fat again. Cause like I say, you want to be healthy. You got to worry about diabetes. You got to worry about, things like that. I said, no, I don't want that. I want to be healthy. I got two grandkids now, which is the greatest thing ever happened to civilization. Shout out to little Henry and little Charlie.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the best thing ever, man. Henry is so awesome.
Yeah.
Now he's a
munchkins too.
Thank you, Kat. He's a terror since he learned how to walk and run. He's a nightmare. And little Charlie. And little Charlie, she's still so cute. She just want to be held and kissed on. But man, I can't imagine what my daughter and her husband are going to go through when both of them are walking and running at the same time. But it's the greatest thing ever happened to me. It's crazy.
I want to go back.
Charlie too. Somewhere up there.
Do you?
Yeah, Charlie. Yeah, I got 5 granddaughters.
Man,
hey, Charles, I want to go back to your clothing. You just said you had all black wardrobe. If I recall right, I want to say maybe 2 Christmases ago.
I'm scared where this is going.
No, you know where it's going. A couple of Christmases ago, we decided to have a gathering for Christmas dinner. We go to Morton's. So we're all dressed up. It's Christmas time.
What can Brown do for you?
Chucky comes walking in the door. He's got brown slacks, a brown mock turtleneck. He's brown head to toe. And it's not like the dark brown. It's like poopy brown. I'm like, what the fuck are you wearing, Chuck?
No.
You don't like my outfit?
No, that's not what you call me. You call me and says, hey, Doug Heffernan.
I said, what can Brown do for you? You look like goddamn Doug Heffernan from the TV show. I go, did you just get done working at UPS Christmas shift?
Oh,
so a couple days later, we're flying to Vegas. And Brennan and I printed out all these Doug Heffernan pictures. He falls asleep on the plane. We put it on his chest. We're taking pictures. We send it to all our friends. Chucky got a side job at UPS. Had to pay the Christmas bills.
Hey man, I laugh about that even to this day. Anytime I see, every time a UPS guy come to my house, I just start laughing. I'm like, oh Lord, what can Brown do for you? I was like, hey man, quit calling me Doug.
Myself.
Oh, hey, every time he's like, hey, Doug Heffernan. I'm like, man, stop it.
And then we go back to his house. He's always got a New Year's Eve party. We're at his house and we're doing like gift exchange. What can you get someone like Charles? Like, what are you going to get him that he doesn't already have, right? Box of balls. He's got 50 of them. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get him a crossword puzzle. Show up to his house. He gives me a nice. He gives me a nice gift, like some kind of Yeti cooler, right? I'm like, oh, this is awesome.
Wow.
I give him a crossword puzzle. He goes, what the hell is this? I go, that's for you to bring next time we golf when you're sitting in your cart for all the holes you don't finish.
No, that's a good line, buddy. Good.
Hey, I was like, dude, why you give me a crossword puzzle? He says, on all those holes you pick up, you can have something to do in the cart. I just, well played. Well played.
That's a good one.
Diner, that might be your best.
Oh, that's what. Hey, you know what? Panger, all you can do is laugh. Well played.
That's right.
Wait till you see this year's Christmas gift. It's even going to be better.
Oh boy.
That is great. Oh my.
Oh, it's coming.
Maybe an Amazon. Maybe he's going to be an Amazon driver instead of a UPS driver.
It's going to be a little something for his collection at home.
Well, I appreciate it, brother. Hey, you know what's funny, man? Remember we called your coach and you had him brainwashed and he was lying, telling about how great you were in hockey?
Hey, Fredonia hockey right here, baby.
Oh gosh.
We get done golfing one day. Me, him, Talk, a couple other guys. We're sitting in our buddy's garage after golf and we're having a couple cocktails. And he goes, let's call your coach. I got to find out if you even played hockey at college. So we call him, we FaceTime him, we're talking. He hangs up. He goes, how do I even know if that was your coach or your uncle?
So
Shout out to Coach. It was Coach Meredith. Shout out to Coach Meredith. Thanks for backing me up.
Hey, shout out to our boy Talkett, man. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Talk. Hey, we got to get up to Vancouver, man. That's one of my favorite cities in the world.
Yeah.
You know,
last week.
Were you? You know, Toronto is my favorite city in the world, but Vancouver is probably, I think Barcelona, Spain is number 2. Those are my 2 favorite places in the world. But man, I love Vancouver. That place, we hated when they moved that team out of Vancouver. That was a really, really great place to go play basketball.
How
come that didn't work there?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer, to be honest with you. We thought it worked there. But, the NBA got some big decisions coming up because I know they want to put a team in Vegas, but they really need a team in Seattle because Seattle's a team that got screwed. Yeah. Seattle's one of those are some of the best fans in the world. I mean, they're some of the best. I just got a text from Hollywood Henderson. He says, and it came on my screen. It says, I've lost 42 pounds in 4 months because he called me. He saw me talking about weight loss. Shout out to Hollywood Henderson, one of the really good dudes I've known. And he says, yo, man, I need your help. I said, what you need? He says, tell me about Mounjaro. I said, yo, man, I can only tell you about me. A lot of people do Ozempic. Some people do this other drug called with COVID, but my doctor, she liked Mounjaro, and it's so cool. He's lost 42 pounds in 4 months. That's awesome, man.
That's awesome.
That is really flat out. Awesome. It is good from here.
All-time greats.
Yeah, yes, and one all-time good dudes too.
One guy that won't need any of that is that Rick Tocchet. He's always in good shape.
Oh, huh?
Yeah, he almost got punched in the face one night. I almost killed him one night. So Panger, one night we're in Vegas with Todd.
Oh.
And I'm up probably about $500,000-$600,000, Craig. And
it was a good night.
Yeah, it was a great night. It was a great 2 nights.
Yeah.
And we're like, let's don't gamble anymore. Let's just go to dinner. Chuck got the red eye. So we go to dinner about 6. We finished dinner around 7:38. We got like 3 hours to blow before I got to head to the airport. Talk like, we got to gamble. I'm like, okay, I'll gamble a little bit. I'm up for the trip.
His last words.
lost all my damn money, Panger, and lost my credit line on top of that in like 3 to 4 hours. I'll never forgive Talk for that. I was like, 1 minute, I was like, yeah, boy, me and Nana like, boy, this has been a great trip. You kicked ass these 2 days. And then I made the mistake of listening to Tocchet, lost all my profit, then lost another big number on my credit I had. I was like, listen. No. So, yeah, but that's my guy, though.
Talk's like, hey, Chucky, I'm in the hole, man. Just sit down with me and try and get me out at the baccarat table.
That's right.
Every time we go back to Vegas now, Charles goes to the baccarat table and he does a video and he sends it to Talk.
That's right. Hey, remember this? Remember this place where all hell broke loose? You know what a good dude, man. What a good dude. He's such a
one of the
good.
best.
He's one of the best ever. You know what, Panger? I'll admit this too. The hockey players, man, they're some of the really good dudes. Pierre LaRouche, I've gotten to Mario Lemieux, those guys, obviously
Lucky.
Gress, Tockett, yourself, Craig, just being around, because when I didn't know a lot about hockey, I'm not going to lie, but my two favorite athletes in Philadelphia were Ron Hextall and Brian Dawkins. I actually got a signed jersey from both of those guys. I didn't know a lot because I was in Alabama. We don't have a lot of hockey. We had the Birmingham Bulls, but they were in Birmingham, and I'm from a small town in Lee, so I went to maybe one game. But when I got to Philadelphia in 1984, 85, and I started meeting these hockey players, and I was like, because we were always sharing the gym together, the arena. Yep. And I'd bump into all these hockey players, and they were really cool dudes. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stay for the hockey game. Or, we had a great time. And then now I love it. One of my good friends to this day is John Cooper. Yeah. But, man, the hockey players, man, they're some of the best dudes you ever going to meet. And you on that list, Panger.
That is incredibly sweet of you. You've always been incredibly great to me ever since I was the broadcaster when Gretzky became the coach in Arizona. And I'd be doing a post-game hit. And KT, you could appreciate this. I'm doing a post-game hit. I'm between the benches, and I'm getting a text from Gretz. And he's like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "Just finishing up the interview. Let's go." We got his coach's room was kind of the green room, wasn't it, Chuck?
Yes.
And after games, like as soon as the game ended, there's Chuck in there. I remember one night, John McEnroe, Alice Cooper, baseball players, you name it. But every time Chuck's there, Gretz would be like, and you know who else would go is Freddie Couples would be there a little bit as well. And he flew with us a couple of times. Yeah. But Gretz was so excited about getting me there. Hey, you got to meet Chuck. You got to meet John McEnroe. And that's the first time really, Chuck, that I met you. And then we went to the golf tournaments in Collingwood, the Wayne Gretzky Ford tournaments. That was so great. So you've always been so kind to us hockey guys, and we really all appreciate it. I know.
I'll never forgive Gretz for not doing that golf tournament. That was
so much fun.
Wasn't it awesome? In that little area in Collingswood, around the little lake and all the bars, like that was it wasn't Tahoe because it didn't have gambling. But man, that was the second thing I put on my schedule. Oh, I got to tell you a funny story about that. So, Gretz picked me up in a private jet one time, and he says, "Hey, can another couple ride with you?" I'm like, "Yeah, no problem. It's easy going." So really nice couple too. So we fly up to Collingswood, Toronto, wherever we flew into.
Yep.
You go
to Collingwood.
Yeah. So the custom guy comes on the plane. We give him our passport. We get in and out. So I'm flying home like 3 days later. I get to Philadelphia, and the guy says, "Chuck, I know you are, but you're not a 52-year-old white woman." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "This is a 52-year-old white woman's passport." I said, "Oh, shit." So I called Gretz. I said, "Gretz, that lady ain't going to be able to get back in the country." And he says, "She don't even know," because we just they just handed us our passport. We didn't look at it till we reviewed it. And the lady had to stay up there like an extra 2 days because I couldn't. I had to stay there like 2-day air. We were laughing our ass off about that. Because when I handed the guy to the custom things in Arizona, in Philadelphia, he looks at me like, "Chuck, we have a problem." I said, "What problem?" He says, "You're not a 52-year-old white woman." I said, "Oh, shit." But I said, "Yo, man," I said, "I got to find a way to get this lady back her passport." But she ended up having to stay up there a couple of extra days, man. It was hilarious. Thank God it was Philadelphia. They knew who I was.
They let you back in without a passport. What's the point?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It was so crazy. But, man, that tournament was so much fun. I wish he would do it again.
You know who we had as a guest? One of our on Back to You was Colt Knost, and he and Brett Hull won the very first one.
Well, you know the bad thing about that, Panger, that was the first time that I met Colt. And you know how sometimes, and I knew who he was, and you know how when you give people your number and you hope they don't call you? Not only did he call me, he actually moved to Arizona to my neighborhood. I can't get rid of that little man. I was like, you know, I knew who he was. He was a heck of a player. I said, yo, if I can ever do anything for you, here's my number. Next thing I know, he's calling me all the time. Then like 2 years later, he's like, hey, I moved. I'm like, where? Right up the street from you. I'm like, oh, hell no. This dude is one of the funniest. What a good dude. One of the funniest people. And I love texting him when he's working. I says, yo, man, I was looking at you on TV. You about 3 pounds from being a circle. I love giving him a hard time. I says, yo, man, he getting ready to start having kids. I says, man, you please marry a tall woman, because if the kids are your height, they're going to be like little munchkins, little Oompa Loompas. I said, marry a tall woman. Please marry a tall woman. They got a chance of being the 50-50 tall kid.
Oh, God.
Got to marry someone tall like KT.
Hey,
That's what he needed exactly.
That's what you did. Sanger, you took that memo. Lynn
That's
is
right.
about my height. Yeah.
Yep, exactly right.
Man up there.
Taller than me.
Hey, Craig, you got to quit avoiding me, because I really want all the smoke, because I've gotten better, and you won't play me now that I've gotten better.
Chuck, I have to say, during COVID, you funded me that whole year. So thank you very much. So I'm playing with house money.
Yeah.
You know what he would do, Panger and KT? He'd crumple up the money and throw it on the ground. He couldn't even be man enough to hand it to me. I'd have to pick it up off the ground.
Yeah, I'll admit that. Every time you beat me, I crumble the money up and throw it on the ground. But I noticed one thing about it.
I picked it up awful fast.
That's exactly right. You wasn't mad not to pick it up.
Hey, so tell them what the bet is that we agreed upon last week. What's the new bet?
Wait, which one is it?
The over-under.
Oh, how many matches we got?
10.
We got 10. I'm going to win more than I lose.
No,
4?
he said 4. He said 4. He goes, I'll win 4 of the 10.
Okay.
That's the over-under is 3.5.
How many shots you giving me?
You said we're playing even.
You going to go from 5 shots aside to nothing?
You told me I shot a 79. I don't need any more strokes from you is exactly what you said to me.
You're going to go from 5 strokes to nothing?
Oh, we went to 3 side, and then it started getting pretty even. So now we're at 0 side.
Okay, you know what? I don't need shots from you. I don't need shots from you.
Oh, here's the deal.
Perfect.
Right here. We got it right here.
Perfect.
I don't need your shots.
Now that we agreed upon that, so you set the bar at over under 3.5. You said you were going to win over 3.5.
Yes.
Match play.
You know that you can post your scores on the Gin app, right? And then you officially.
You don't know how. He don't even use one.
App is.
He don't use one. He doesn't.
Panger, I'm technology challenged, Panger.
He doesn't.
Oh.
He doesn't.
I don't do any social media at all. I've never done any social media. I don't really do. I don't do a lot of apps unless they gambling related. I'm not gonna lie, but I am technology challenged. See, I got to make it hard for people to reach me, because I'm sick of people asking me for damn money. So the least amount of contact I can have with relatives and friends is better for me financially.
Yes.
Hey,
You're my idol in that regard. I mean,
Smart play.
literally, no technology. It's amazing.
Well
no
played.
Media. I don't even. I know you have an email address. You probably don't look at it very often.
I do not. I do not, because if anybody needs me important, they would call the girl who runs my life. Her name is Christy, who pays all my bills. If somebody's calling me or emailing me, they're one of my loser friends, and it's not important. So if it's important, they would call Christy. But my loser friends, they can reach me if they have to, but it's never anything important.
No.
Yeah.
Anytime I text him, I'll hear right back from him if it's golf or gambling
Check.
or to watch football.
Yes.
Then we go do that together. Other than that, don't even text him.
Oh man, the
Or
Packers
deep fried turkeys.
yes, the Packers were huge for me last night. Did you have the Packers?
Amen.
Yeah.
I was on them.
Yeah.
Thanks to you, I was on them.
Yeah, the Packers were huge for me. I needed
we
to.
should be riding this gambling wagon that they've got
I
going
know.
on.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Hey,
I
hey.
know I would not be a good gambler because I am way too emotional.
Well, you know, Kat,
Be real
when every time my financial people yell at me, they're like, dude, gambling is a losing proposition. I says, no, it's not. Gambling is 50-50. You're either going to win or you're going to lose. That's 50-50. I mean,
Take my chances.
Hey,
And I just bet on the coin cost then. That would be the easiest thing then. That's 50-50. It's heads
Yep.
or tails. And then you don't have to bet on anything else anymore.
you know, it's frustrating because every time I lose a large sum of money, they yell at me for like 10, 15 minutes. And then I just take it. And then I says, y'all better shut the hell up before y'all get fired. I said, I let them vent. They're like, Chuck, you lost this much money. So I said, I let them do their job. They're yelling at me, telling me how stupid I am for gambling, blah, blah, blah. And then I says, y'all actually know y'all work for me, right? Okay, so
point.
they're like, yeah, but we need you to know when you lose money, it's stupid. I says, I got your point. But I'm gonna keep gambling. There's nothing gonna stop me. I love to gamble. I mean, I feel bad for these football players. They're going out there killing themselves. They're amazing. Football is my favorite sport. I have an obligation to bet on them. They're gonna go out there. If they're gonna go out there and risk their bodies, I have a moral obligation not to let them go out there and play just for fun. I'm looking out for those guys.
Hey, one thing I will say about gambling with
I
Charles.
like your commitment.
Yeah.
Thank you.
First of all, I feel very honored and generous when you let Brendan and I come in with our chump change and play at your table. But I will say this, win or lose, it doesn't matter. Charles is the most generous, nicest guy to the dealers, the waitresses, always tipping, whether we're at a restaurant or bar, he's buying drinks. And I don't care. Can you imagine if you have a losing night, how sick your stomach is? It doesn't change who he is. So I do want to give you kudos because you are one of the most nicest, generous guys, win or lose, to anybody that's around you.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. It's only because I'm rich, Craig, that I can afford to tip everybody and lose money at the same time.
And also, Chuck, I'm not sure what school Niner went to, but most nicest is probably not something he learned in school in Michigan.
That's Canadian.
Well,
You bilingual? You bilingual all of a sudden, huh?
Yeah, I've got that in my.
Yeah. Hey. Won't you learn English first before you try to be bilingual? Hey.
Charles will lose 10 hands in a row. The dealer gives him blackjack, and he thinks he can tip him after that.
You have to always tip the dealers, man. They have to split that money with everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, man. It's fun. I love Vegas. I'm actually, I got to work the next 2 nights in this in-season tournament, and then got to work the semifinals in Vegas.
Next week.
No, Thursday.
Yeah, I'll be on the plane. Remember?
No, he doesn't remember. He doesn't want to remember.
He just shows up, KT. He's just gonna show up.
Well, I have to go to Vegas next week, so I might as well go with you.
He doesn't.
This week, fool.
I'm going this week too.
Yeah, the semifinal. How about this? I got to go to Vegas for one day Thursday to work the second game of a doubleheader because ESPN got the first game. We got the second game.
that is unbelievably
It is.
ridiculous.
And ESPN gets the finals on Saturday. So I was like, we got to fly all the way to Vegas for one day. And I was like, well,
What time does the plane leave Thursday?
Well, I'm flying commercial, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Because
It's a disappointment.
Okay, you can be okay, Craig. Niners crying.
Yeah. Now I got to use my Southwest drink coupon.
Hey, listen, Southwest is great. I flew Southwest many times. It's only like an hour flight. Southwest Airlines, they got 50,000 employees. Good thing about it, they only put 3,000 on every flight, so they squeeze you in there. Hey, hey, you know what's so funny? I have no problem with Southwest. I like Southwest because you can see the whole country for $99 because you start in Phoenix and they stop like 8 times till you get to your destination. So for like $100, you can see the entire country for $99. And since you don't change planes, they call it nonstop.
That's right.
I was like, Southwest, they used to be the #1 sponsor of our show on TNT, and I used to make fun of them because they're fine. They were great, but they had a flight from Phoenix to Alabama, and I was like, oh, that's great. I don't have a bunch of nonstops because even if you fly the big airlines, you have to go through Atlanta. But I was like, that's great. I can fly right to Birmingham from Phoenix. What I didn't know, they were going to stop like 17 times. And I was like, this is crazy. But I got to see the whole country out the window. Omaha, Nebraska,
Good ride.
oh, I know. Chicago, Illinois, Dallas, Loveville, Shreveport, Louisiana, Charlotte, North Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, Nashville, Tennessee, and finally Birmingham, Alabama. I'm home, Mom. I left 2 days ago, but I'm finally in Birmingham.
Man, I hope you brought your clubs on that trip. There's a lot of good places to play.
I'm not trusting my clubs on Southwest, brother. Stop it.
That's a good point.
I'm not trusting.
Good point, buddy.
Charles, I before we let you go, I know you've been working on some great projects. Tell us a little bit about your liquor company and what you've got going on with that.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I've been looking for businesses to invest in Birmingham. So I bought a vodka and gin distillery about 4 years ago. And it's been going well. We're up to about 20 states now. Really looking forward to the future. Just had a really nice opening at the Atlanta Hawks Arena. Got a Redmont bar there. The vodka is called Redmont. The gin is called Vulcan. I'm just trying to, Alabama means a great deal to me. And man, I always look for like Arizona, Philadelphia, and Alabama. If I get an opportunity to invest in it, those are my 3 favorite. That's where I spent my entire career, my entire life. So if there's ever any investment opportunities in those areas, but Alabama's always going to be special to me because that's where I grew up. I don't get there as much as I used to because, unfortunately, most of my family's passed away. My mom, my dad, my grandmother, and 2 of my brothers have passed away. So I got 1 brother still in my little hometown of Lee. So I get there probably once a month. I got 4 nieces there. But, owning a business in Alabama was a really cool thing for me. And it's going well. I just hope me and my friends don't drink up all the profits. That's my only goal.
I would like to know if I move to Alabama, can I be part of the investment opportunity?
Hey, Kat, you know how cool I think you are. You don't have to worry about any vodka gin for the rest of your life. You're good. You just tell me where to send it.
Okay.
I'll send Nana. I'll send the bill to you.
Exactly.
I got to pick the money up off the ground before I pay the bill, though.
You never had a problem picking it up. You grab it quickly.
So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we know you are a busy man. We so appreciate your time.
The Redmont, is that, sorry, Niner. Is the Redmont the vodka and the Vulcan is it gin?
Yes. Panger, hey, Panger, you're part of the club too. Any vodka gin you want, you let me know where to send it. You grandfathered in, you and KT. Craig, you go to Fry's and get it.
Chuck, thank you for that. And unbelievable that you've taken this time on a game day as well. None of us are surprised with the kind of person you are. And we greatly appreciate it. We're getting this podcast back to you, off the ground and running. And we're really thankful that you you took the time to join us, man. We really appreciate it.
Let me say this. I give Craig a hard time, but you three people are so awesome and special. You know, I would do anything for either one of you two and Craig. I know I give him a hard time, but you guys are awesome. Glad to be a part of it. And if we want to do it again in the future, just let me know.
Thank you. We love you and your support and your generosity and everything. You're a great friend to all of us and an amazing human. And I'm a huge fan of the new show too. I love King Charles.
Me too.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
So
hey, let me know where to send the vodka and gin. Y'all got it.
You got it.
You got it.
All right. Hey, make sure you tell your mom and sister I said hello.
I will absolutely do that. They'll love to hear that. All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Chucky. See you, buddy.
For sure.
You guys, I mean, he's just one of the greatest humans ever. And Panger, to go back to what you said when we first brought into the podcast and we were just bantering a little bit before we got to his interview, the way you described him as just, you know, this energy. I mean, he is a unique human being. You know, what he brings to life, to people around him, to the entertainment business, to the basketball court, all those years he played. There's no one like him. He really, truly is a unique individual.
Very much so. I mean, I go back to the years of Wayne Gretzky having a nationwide event in Collingwood, Ontario, and sitting around. It's a Westin right there, and obviously Collingwood, Ontario is a very small place. When somebody like Charles Barkley is there, and we have so many NHL players that are there, but when Charles Barkley walks into a room, I mean, everybody just can't wait to listen to him, and he gives people, whether it be a former athlete or a current athlete or a coach or whatever, or he treats that person the same way he would treat, you know, Mrs. Jones sitting there at the end of the bar, or Mr. Smith over there. Like I just have great admiration for that part of him. And you know, in this day in social media where there can be so much trouble to be found, you know, he just puts a smile on his face, puts his arm around you, takes the picture, does a video for you or what have you. And he just, I mean, he's just I don't know, he's great for all of us to be around and to get re-energized with, because he gets asked more than any of us get asked to do things, and yet there he is answering the bell every single time. So I clearly would say that it's an honor to be around him.
Yeah.
It was last year in the Stanley Cup final when he joined us when we were in Florida the whole time. He was with us a lot, going back and forth to the rink, and he was just, I mean, it was one story after another, and it was one cocktail after another later on, and that got even funnier, as we all know. We've all been around it, and it's there's nothing dangerous about it. He's just a good man with a lot of spirit.
Yeah.
100%. And like you said, Panger, just now, every time I'm around Charles, it involves cocktails, cigars, gambling, and golf. And, you know, and he even made a comment on the show, like, for him to go to the golf course, it's like his paradise. He gets to get away from everything. Well, it's the same thing for us. The everyday grind, the monotony.
And have a cigar.
And have a cigar and a nice glass of Redmont vodka, whatever it may be. But being on the golf course is just that time to just recharge the battery, laugh, have a good time, let everything go, get rid of all the drama and stress of your life. And that guy definitely knows how to do it first class. I'll tell you that.
He does.
Yeah, he sure does.
He's the best. We love him, and we're super grateful and appreciative that he joined us on this latest edition of Back to You. We hope you all watching and listening at home enjoyed it as well, and we hope you'll tune in next time to Back to You. Don't forget, you can follow us on all of our social media channels and YouTube at Back to You Show, and that's 2, the number 2. We hope you'll tune in. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you next time.